Coming up on Tuesday, March 4th at 2 p.m., the Music and Mavens concert and lecture series at the Rady Jewish Community Center will host a concert called Sustenance II. This concert will feature violinist Elation Pauls, who serves as the assistant principal second violin with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. Building off her Sustenance project that was born out of the pandemic, Sustenance II will feature music by prominent Canadian composers, as well as Ravel's Kaddish and theme from Schindler's List. This performance is in anticipation of Paul's upcoming album, due to be released on May 13th as part of a collaboration with SOCAN and the Canada Council for the Arts. This is going to be a fantastic concert that explores themes of sustenance and resilience. And joining me here in the Classic 107 studio to talk about her upcoming concert for Music and Mavens, I am joined by Elation Pauls. Hey, Elation, nice to have you back.
Thanks. Great to be here.
So I first want to ask, how did this concert come about? Did you pitch the idea to Carla and Music and Mavens, or did Music and Mavens reach out to you?
Music and Mavens actually reached out to me. Yeah, Carla must have heard about my sustenance project and was just really interested in hearing more of it and bringing it to the Rady Center.
Mm-hmm. The premise for the original Sustenance project is super interesting. For those who don't know, can you talk about the genesis of the project and this whole idea of commissioning new works by Canadian composers?
Yeah, during the pandemic, it was difficult for everybody, as we know, and I just felt so useless as a musician without an audience. And, you know, I'm not a frontline worker, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a healthcare worker, and I just really wanted to contribute in some way, and it was very frustrating to not have that avenue available to me. So with the many days and weeks spent at home just contemplating, how can I truly make some sort of meaningful contribution in this time of suffering. This idea of, bringing new works of art to the scene and contributing my own voice just seemed like a good idea. And a number of people close to me were very affirming. And so, it has been really blessed with this funding from the Canada Council for the Arts, and also SOCAN, like you mentioned, also with the Winnipeg Arts Council, and all of the composers that I reached out to about being involved in the project were really enthusiastic, and it's been quite the journey. Yeah, it's been so wonderful to have such a great team of people to collaborate with, composers, pianists.
Can you talk about some of the composers that you commissioned?
Yeah, so they're on the album. Two of the composers are actually playing with me. Mm-hmm. So Serouj Kradian, who has an Armenian-Canadian background, and David Braid, who comes from a jazz background, have works that they're performing with me, and they have composed or arranged. And we're going to be playing two of Serouj's works on Tuesday, his Tango Melancholico, as well as the Sari Archik. So those are really just fantastic, fun pieces. Mm-hmm. Manitoban composer Karen Sunebeka wrote Jack the Fiddler, which is a very Manitoban-based story. But we're not performing that on Tuesday. So the works that are on my album that we will be playing, one of them is Offering of Water by Iman Habibi. And then the two works by Kradian, as well as Carmen Braden's Foxy Fox's musical games for violin and piano, which is a really, it's very, very playful and requires a little bit of audience participation. So, yeah.
Who's going to be accompanying you on the concert?
I'm going to be playing with Paul Williamson for this concert, which I'm really excited about. We've collaborated together once at the Agassiz Festival with Paul Merlin. And he performed on the Rosamunde Festival series last summer with the Griffon Trios, Annalie Patapakanatun and Roman Boris. And he played a piece by Kelly Marie Murphy, who's also a composer on my album. And I'm really looking forward to working more closely with him on this concert.
He's a fabulous pianist. Back in September, you performed the Sustenance program for the first time for Groundswell. What are you expecting from Tuesday? Do you expect a similar experience to when you performed the program for Groundswell, or are you expecting something completely different from the audience at the Rady Center, especially considering the recent events in Israel and Gaza? I mean, sustenance and resiliency sort of take on a whole new meaning against that backdrop, right?
That's true. I think it will be different. The program is different. There will be more like other works thrown in. Like you mentioned, I'm going to be playing Kaddish by Ravel from De Mélodie Hébraïque and the theme from Schindler's List. And I think these two pieces really, are very meaningful, very expressive, emotionally lamenting and mourning, and express some of the grieving that I think people are experiencing. And then we are actually going to end the program with Beethoven's final movement from his Kreutzer Sonata, which is just one of the most uplifting and joyful movements written, I think, for violin and piano. You want to cover the full range of emotions, from the loss, despair, all the way to, the hope and the joy that we need to continue on.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I was reading about you and that I find super interesting is in 2018, you spent a week-long residency in Israel. What was the residency for?
Yeah, so at the time, I was performing some trio works by some Israeli composers, and I had the opportunity to go spend a little over a week. I got to hear the Israel Philharmonic. I got to have some lessons. I got to spend some time in Tel Aviv and in Jerusalem, and what a trip, you know?
I've been there myself. It's a wonderful country. Yeah.
Yeah. Food is amazing.
Yeah. And the people and just the life. It's great.
Yeah.
As someone who's both a performer and an advocate for new Canadian music, how does it feel to share works by emerging and established Canadian composers with audiences at this event?
Oh, I think it's so important, Of course, as a classical musician, I love the standard repertoire, but, we're living in 2025, and so many of these composers today have a really important voice speaking to events that we are, today's cultural and societal issues. So I think it's just really important as artists that we have the chance to reflect and to communicate and to, start a discussion. And it's very meaningful for me. And I'm really thankful for the opportunity to play this music.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. This has been so great. I'm going to wrap up the conversation by asking, what do you hope audiences are going to take away from Tuesday afternoon's performance? Yeah,
I hope that they hear something that sticks with them. There are some very familiar melodies, and I hope that they walk out feeling, with a little bit more vibrant, maybe having been moved, having felt a little bit more deeply, and also been, renewed in their energy. And yeah.
Great. Elation, this has been so wonderful to have you here again. A little while ago, we were just talking about the Rosamunda Scholarship Fundraiser. All the best on Tuesday, and thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me today. This has been fantastic.
My pleasure.
For our Classic 107 listeners, the Music and Mavens presentation of Sustenance II with Violinist Elation Pauls takes place this Tuesday, March 4th at 2 p.m. at the Rady JCC at 123 Doncaster. For more details, visit radyjcc.com or go to classic107.com. I have embedded a direct link to the concert page in the article about the concert that is up there now. Elation, thanks again.